This story is shared for educational and awareness purposes to explore themes of emotional rediscovery, human connection, and personal growth later in life. Have you ever had a single moment that reshaped everything you thought you knew about your life? My name is Clara. I'm 54. Widowed for several years, I'd settled into a quiet rhythm. Work, houseplants, the same empty routines. Mornings were for coffee that cooled too fast. Evenings were for the television's low hum and the steady tick of the living room clock. My son visited on weekends, brief, bright bursts in an otherwise steady silence. I had grown comfortable with that silence. I told myself I was at peace, but a part of me had gone dormant, like a room in the house I never opened. Then one ordinary evening, everything changed. My son was leaving town for a few days and mentioned that his friend Julian, a young man he'd known almost his whole life, might stop by and stay the night. Julian was polite and familiar, a presence I'd watched grow up in our home. When he arrived, he greeted me with that familiar, easy smile and set his bag down as if he belonged. We shared a simple dinner. For a while, the conversation was casual. Jobs, plans, stories about my son. The kind of talk that fills small hours and keeps people connected. But later, something shifted. The talk quieted. The atmosphere grew thoughtful. There were moments when his gaze lingered a little too long, and I felt a warmth in my chest I didn't expect. It was confusing, a small, surprising flutter. I realized how long it had been since anyone looked at me like that, not as a mother or a neighbor, but as a woman. We moved to the living room. The wine warmed the room, and a strange, tender closeness settled between us. I felt seen in a way I hadn't been in years. He said things that were gentle but direct. Words that made me aware of the person I had been before life layered me with roles and grief. I was equal parts startled and intrigued. My heart beat faster. My hands trembled, not from fear alone, but from the long dormant possibility of feeling desired. There was a moment, small and ordinary, when he reached out, rested his hand on the back of the couch, and said, "You're beautiful." The words landed softly, and for the first time in a long time, I let myself believe them. I closed my eyes for a second, tasting something like memory and something like hope. Nothing rushed, nothing felt forced. Instead, an honest connection unfolded. A look, a whispered compliment, a shared silence that spoke louder than any explanation. I found myself answering that look, not because I wanted to hurt anyone, but because I remembered what it is to be fully alive, to be seen as more than the past or the labels others placed on me. When he leaned closer, I did not pull back. I did not leap forward either. We simply existed in that space between. It was tender and cautious, two adults meeting where their lives intersected for a single evening. We shared a soft kiss at first, like two people testing whether the moment was real. It felt like rediscovery rather than surrender, a reclaiming of a part of me I'd left behind. Afterwards, the house felt different, softer somehow, full of small reverberations. There was no dramatic fallout, no melodrama, only a hush that felt like the calm after a storm. We lay there quietly. Neither of us declared anything definitive about the future. Instead, we shared a simple, honest gratitude. He thanked me for letting him be present. I thanked him for the reminder that life could still surprise me. That night, I learned something simple and true. Age is not a sentence. Worlds change, grief softens, and the human heart can wake again, often in unexpected ways. This wasn't about rebellion or scandal. It was about remembering that I am more than my history. I am still capable of surprise, of connection, and of tenderness. If you've ever thought it was too late to feel something new, remember Clara's evening. Sometimes all it takes is a look, a few gentle words, or one unguarded moment to open a door. Life keeps giving us moments to wake up to. If this story moved you, tell me in the comments. Did you ever have a moment that changed how you saw your life? Subscribe for more true feeling stories and hit the bell so you don't miss the next one. If you enjoyed this, leave a like. It helps these quiet human stories find the people who need them. Thank you for watching. See you next time.